Ladies and gentlemen of the Brightworks, I'm happy to announce that we officially have some new music for the game. Ooh, I'm excited. You know I love the soundtrack for Beyond All Reason, and I always love the good work that our wonderful creatives over there, one of them, Leon Devrau, I am so bad, so I still apologize for how poorly I butchered that name, has cooked up a wonderful new song and added it to the list of musical embellishments to adorn our ears as we play, and I'm super thrilled about it. So welcome back to the Brightworks, where you may hear today's cast featuring a couple of the soothing dulcet tones raging across the battlefield. And today, spawning as our blue team leader, a commander that goes by the name of Sabutai, a very high-level commander, a 52 open skill silver chevron commander, about as good as they come. Gonna be showing us what they've got up here right on the front line. Sabutai showing us what they've got. All the way on the other side, spawning on the hillside right here, it's gonna be none other than Luis B288. And also, I did get a comment. I saw a comment, and this is something that's popped up every once in a while. It asked to include the name of the map that is actually being played, because sometimes I forget to mention it. This one's called Swirly Rock, and in case I don't remember it, feel free to leave a comment, but I tend not to include it in the description alongside a link of the replay, because all this can be found online by just putting in a couple of these players' names. Most of these are pulled directly from the website, so in case you want to go take a look at them, you're more than welcome to go access those on your own. Until Bar has a more streamlined way of putting replays into a replay folder, I'm gonna redirect people that direction just to make sure that everybody goes the direct avenues and nobody accidentally gets a malicious link or something like that. I don't want to have that on my hands. Don't want to be responsible for that. So that's where I'm gonna send everybody. All right, back to the game. The poor orange friend, Spooter friend here, the orange commander, the 38 open skill orange commander, now left with quite literally 0 metal extractors on their base right now, as 3 ticks managed to get into the line and break every single one of those mexes, meaning for the time being, Spooter friend has exactly 2 metal production, and that's just coming in from the commander. Gonna have to get those mexes back up and running stat. Definitely not happy about the way that played out. And indeed, we have more and more ticks moving around here as well. Some blue ticks headed forward into the base right here of Plagzor, the tan commander. And it looks like that tick will just barely get shut down before managing to find some more value. So far in this game, 3 metal extractors down. It looks like that's the total right here. The blue team not managing to get too much value, but more value than the red, and so that definitely goes some distance. You can see the orange commander now back up and running with production, but those couple of seconds right there where the metal production was down definitely cost the orange commander a little bit, and obviously, not to mention, of course, it's also 50 metal versus 17 metal for those ticks, right? So it's very, very efficient as far as that trade is concerned. Ticks right here, trying to blast down those grunts, but not managing to. The Resbot right here, trying to reclaim as much of this metal as possible. Not paying attention right there. Sabutai loses the Resbot, the death explosion. Kills the grunt right there. That's a rare occurrence, but it does happen every so often. Yeah, grunt's quite a bit better than the ticks, obviously. Quite a bit more HP, quite a bit more fire range, a lot of everything, really. Ooh, we've got a scout plane coming along over here. That's the green commander, Shoty. Sends the scout plane across and into the enemy backline. It's going to find, at the very least, the red commander. Gonna discover there's nobody back here as well, and of course it also finds the tan commander. Now we're headed towards the brown commander, Robert 82, who's gonna be going ahead and building some of those Cortex airplanes. Nicely done. This is a beautiful scout. We'll switch on over to the blue player view here, actually, and we can see exactly what's going on. So this is a lovely scout, because you can see it basically figured out where everybody is, with the orange, pink, brown, maroon, tan, red, and of course by proxy we also know where the yellow commander is going to be as well. So basically a perfect scout coming out here. The only thing that would have been better is just scouting a little bit more on the front lines just to figure out where those LLTs are going to be. Nice snipe right there. It looks like a rover does manage to pop one of those mexes there for Kernard, the green commander right here, and it looks like a couple of rascals, rovers actually, have managed to break into the backline and tear down some more metal extractors for the seafoam green commander, Meow Cat Meow, as well. Nicely done. Well, if there's one thing that you can say about the pro-level gamers, it's that they don't waste any time. They never waste any moments that could be spent aggressing on the other side of the map here. They immediately get into each other's base and doing tons of damage as quickly as possible. And just like that, yellow ticks now move across the map, finding gaps in the armor and tearing down metal extractors. Shuriken here paralyzing one of the ticks before it can kill this mechs. The other tick running back to try and finish the job right here. These ticks have already sniped the constructor and one of those mexes as well. And the other tick comes to finish the mission. My goodness. The aggression was low in the early game. This rover, by the way, having a wonderful time blasting this apart, just farming that XP right here. The aggression in the early game was quite low, but now it looks like the red team has really stepped it up. Yeah, they're headed towards a very, very aggressive mid game, and it does seem like that's the appropriate response right here. We do have a Centurion blasting away at this LLT right now. The Orange Commander was building. I do believe that Centurion won that battle as far as, you know, raw damage versus repair goes. Eventually managing to blast down that LLT, but it was a little bit of a close battle. TA Ape microing his heart out here, trying to keep the Centurion alive on the front line, moving the commander around and repairing that Centurion whenever possible, trying to stall out as much of this as possible to get as many constructors out before necessarily having to build a whole bunch of these units to put on the front line, right? Units are expensive and they don't really produce many resources, the only exception to that being constructors, which produce a little bit of energy, as you can see. +7 energy per second. One of those, like, weird little bar facts that not many people know about, but technically speaking, constructors do produce a little bit of energy. Well, Hero Tech manages to make it through to the backline, too. Could start popping the economy right here. Now we have Rocketeers en masse going up against the Aggravators, though, and Spooter Friend and TA Ape are both devolving into a good old-fashioned battle of rocket warfare. Grunts moving in for the kill right here. A whole bunch of red Grunts managed to sneak around the side of that mountain and try to engage against the base right now. It looks like the Blue Commander, with a nice defense, manages to kill a lot of those Grunts without losing too many of their own pawns. Reinforcements coming out of the laboratory right here, but the Grunts do take a favorable engagement there. Nicely done, losing only one of them for the two Grunts that, or the two pawns that existed, and now going to be able to flash down this entire base with basically no contest. This is a perfect situation right now for the Red Commander. Luis B288 is hoping for exactly this sort of situation. The solar panels go and close up here as well. 0% HP left on that solar panel, but it does survive. Constructor is going to be available to rebuild all this, but that is 2 dead metal extractors, loads of dead solar panels and wind turbines, all sorts of stuff that the Blue Commander desperately wants and needs to hold on to this front line. Needs in order to hold on to that front line. HLT D-Gun just before finishing right here as Chronic Killa and Aggressive Lemming duke it out on the front lines. The Aggravators firing away with their rockets is always lovely stuff, chipping away that commander's HP pool, softening up the Lavender Commander so that the Maroon Hero can move in to try and steal all that juicy metal. Looks like, where has the Yellow Commander gone? Oh, the Yellow Commander has died. Oh my goodness, Yellow Commander walking too far into the LLT. I didn't even see the explosion, but now suddenly knocked out of the game. Oh my goodness, the red team already down a, not even just a player, but a top tier player. One of their number 2 player on the match has already left the game here after losing their commander and being overwhelmed by a whole bunch of vehicles. Now these incisors and brutes are pushing forward. A little bit of hesitancy there. I'm surprised to see these brutes didn't accompany the forces moving into the base right now. Beamer turret up and running, and it's going to do a good job of flashing down some of those incisors here. Medium tanks continuing to sweep across the front here as well, trying to pop as much of this economy as possible. Incisors eventually dealt with. You know what? Not nearly as much damage right there as I think we probably were hoping for. Meowcat and Meow was probably expecting those units to do quite a bit more. Medium tanks need to kill these mechs quick. Otherwise, yeah, they need to go down a whole lot quicker. Otherwise, they're just not going to be able to get their value out. Well, there we go. 2 metal extractors down. And, of course, all these ones along the line right here. Pink Commander now adopted. Thorexi going to be in charge of a gargantuan front line at this point. It's a 2 versus 1, and obviously with 2 times the economy that is possible, it's doable, but it is very stressful, and there's a lot of APM demand that goes into fighting a 2 versus 1. Meanwhile, on the southern side, looks like an overwhelming of the northern force, and as well, because of that base being knocked out in the backline, it means Sabotai is forced back from this front. Ralkravan has not held this southern side, well, hardly at all. I'm sure it was a hard-fought battle, but at this point in the game, Luis B with an overwhelming advantage. I guess that's just the difference between some of these players. I mean, you can see 43 open skill versus 29. You'd expect there to be some sort of a difference, right? Oftentimes, I am one to say that the open skill is not necessarily the most accurate measure of how good a commander is, but it's also not fair to say that it's an inaccurate measure either. There's definitely some credibility to it. So it's hard to blame a player like Ralkravan, or really any player that's lower OS than, for instance, the top dog of the other team, for maybe struggling a little bit to keep up with the pace of that commander. It's just how it goes sometimes and beyond no reason. And there's some strategy to that too, right? If you recognize, hey, the best player on the enemy team is on this lane, maybe we'll dedicate a little more force down to that side, or worst comes to worst, put our best player on that lane to hopefully prolong the inevitable or even surmount it. Aggravators in full mass here, though, from the red commander. He also has the grunts in front in order to overwhelm some of these slower moving units. Those aggravators are without defense from the blue commander. Looks like mostly we'll be able to fire away fast enough to blast down most of those grunts, but once they hit the line, it can be very tricky to clean out because of the friendly firing that starts happening. Yeah. Those grunts causing a lot of problems right now, and suddenly it means these aggravators are free to engage, as well as the resbots, eager to repair and reclaim anything in this line right here. About 1,000 or so metal, and the blue commander is struggling to deal with these units in the backline. Finally, the grunts do go down after a hard-fought battle. Tan forces and red forces moving in tandem right here, though. A major advantage for the red team on the southern side at this point. They also command the metal advantage quite largely. Yeah, 20-ish% advantage, more or less, dependent on the reclaim right here coming in from these red resbots. But they also are losing the energy advantage very slightly to the blue team. So the blue team trying to make investments into the future here, going for those energy investments that can pay massive dividends in the late game, but obviously have significant drawbacks too. If you overinvest into energy production early on in the game, you can find yourself wanting for more in the early game, wanting for more units on the field, wanting for more static defenses to keep yourself protected. There's a lot of areas where pulling that metal from can leave you stranded in a sense. Sabotage reclaiming from the front line here, retreating the commander quickly. Lovely stuff indeed. Going to be setting up some beamer turrets and trying to prolong the inevitable right here. The blue commander, without enough build power to really sustain this base, has quite a lot of metal in the bank. About 1,000 metal in the tank right now, hoping desperately to see some T2 support coming out from anyone else on the team. Shoty with the T2 constructor could lend that constructor down here, and we could always set up some T2 defenses. That's obviously one option for if you wanted to turtle up against a whole bunch of T1 units, T1, well, garbage, for lack of other word. This is a rough situation right here. This is a really, really rough situation for the blue team. I wouldn't say the advantage they get from being out in the midsection of the map equalizes the advantage that you get from this massive push on the southern side. But at the very least, it brings it closer than you might expect. The obvious advantage here, though, aside from the economic investment you get, is the fact that the bases are just mere steps away from where this front line is brawling. So it only takes so much distance on a push before you manage to hit the production, and once you knock out the production, you're basically home free. There's a T2 constructor flying over in a transport right there. It's going to be Farmer Kit hand-delivering that constructor to the blue commander, trying to set up, in the meantime, a little bit of a static defensive position until those T2 mexes come online. They are really the saving grace the blue commander is hoping for here to try and get this back underway. Obviously, one option is to go for those T2 mexes and spam out T1 units like your life depends on it, but as soon as those T2 hit the field, and we should be seeing them momentarily. Actually, no T2 from either of the players in the backline right now. Interesting. Okay. Luis B and Plagzor both going for T2 mexes, but haven't quite gotten up to their good old-fashioned T2 unit production yet. Heavy laser tower, standing guard. Trying to hold on for dear life, but a lone heavy laser tower will not nearly be enough to shut down this massive army of T1 and T2. Heavy and medium tanks rolling forward right now. Those bulls are going to shred the T1, and the Janus do such a huge impulse of damage. There's not a lot that can stand up to them either. Ooh, that missile just barely dodging the friendly fire right there. Nicely done. T2 metal extractor on its way, and the build power is very thin right now. You can see the energy production is quite low as well. Yeah, not a lot of backline investment, and the wind speed at 2 right now is leaving the blue commander high and dry, wanting for more energy and failing to find it. Yeah, Sabotage forced to reclaim from the front with this commander, but really not an ideal solution. Meanwhile, grunts and aggravators overwhelming the powder blue commander right here. That's Ralkarin, loses the comm on the front line, and of course that means suddenly there's no more potential for D-guns. There's not that thermonuclear threat. Suddenly it means this line is wide open. A agitator is up on this high ground. You do have to be careful. A commander with a well-placed D-gun can actually clip it up the side of this mountain right here, and it'll actually end up hitting this aggravator, but for the meantime, I don't think it's been spotted. Luis B happy to eat up all that metal right now, and you can see 3,000 metal in the bank is going to be more than enough to start up proper T2 production. I'm surprised, actually, we haven't started it up yet. Yeah, we're going to go for fusion reactors in the backline. I don't mind that whatsoever. About 6 to 8 construction turrets is usually enough to actually do fusion reactors in a decent amount of time. You can see probably about 60, maybe 50 seconds for that fusion reactor to come up and running. Granted, there's no stalls. Shoty going for a little bit of a transport play here. Whoa, Shoty. Very greedy with the heavy transport, drops the commander in, D-guns the LLT, D-guns the T3 gantry, D-guns the Marauder. Oh, misses the Marauder, manages to get it just barely. Shoty with a game changer of a play right there, needed a desperate move and managed to find it. The heavy transport picking up that commander once more and moving it into the backline, hoping to find some way to get this commander into some more trouble. Oh my goodness. What a play right there from Shoty, using the scouts to find open areas to attack from and then transporting the commander in order to do some damage. Oh, what a play. What a nasty, nasty play. The pink commander pinging left, right, and center, but the brown commander without forces in the air here doesn't have the fighters in order to shut this down. Shoty transports into the back once more. Oh, where is it? Come on. Boom! Got the fusion reactors. A beautiful D-gun connects with both of those fusions, opening up or cracking down the pink economy right there, shattering any hope that there was of continuing production on the front line. D-gun's continuing to ricochet around in the back line as Shoty is devastating the back economy right here for Nikotan. What a play right there. Nikotan immediately reaching to the air commander, looking for some sort of justifications for how this commander could have been existent in the backline for so long without immediate repercussion. What a hilarious play. Shoty dropping into the backline. Oh no, don't tell me he gets away with it again. He gets away with it again, ladies and gentlemen. This one commander single-handedly D-gunning down bases left, right, and center. The heavy transport picks up and gets on out of there again, and he's back at it with some more. Shoty moving forward into the other base. At this point, D-gunning down a T3 lab, two T2 labs, and is now making his way into the backline here, the red commander as well. Shoty with the D-gun takes out the anti-air missiles and goes for the fusion reactor. Boom goes the fusion, sending ripples through the red economy. My goodness. Just like that, bringing the energy advantage back down and around towards the blue team. Oh, finally the green commander goes down, but my goodness, what a showing. Knocking the red commander's morale out of the game as well, and at this point, 4 red commanders remain. The blue team making massive plays to save their team. Shoty knew he needed a last-ditch effort, one last potential push in order to make this work. Ended up risking it all with the commander and managed to, well, don't call it a comeback, ladies and gentlemen, but on death's door, the blue team was knocking, and suddenly Shoty managed to pull this game back. I don't know if I've ever seen a play like that, especially as successful as that one was. Those heavy transports, very difficult to shut down, and with the air pull to knock out the air fighters right there from the brown commander, it meant that Shoty was more than able to go ahead and push into the enemy backlines and do massive amounts of work. Oh, nice self-destruct micro right there from those fiends, too. TA Ape with a wonderful little bit of self-destruct micro. Popping those fiends before they actually, get shot to pieces means they explode for quite a lot of damage. Don't leave behind any debris. Commander now detected, but moves in for the D-gun right here. Finds the twin guard, but is more than happy to just blow those apart with the D-gun. Boom goes the fusion reactor. The commander's making plays. What a bunch of mad lads. The blue team not willing to give up, not willing to throw in the towel, despite losing their front lines quite badly. Whole bunch of gunships moving in at this point. Surprised to see them not locking onto these bases. There we go. Whoa, pardon me. Grabbing the camera from the wrong angle. There we go. The gunships popping the T2 laboratory here. Going to manage to kill a whole bunch of these Twitcher as well. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. These gunships doing wonderful work to tear down the economy right here for the tan commander, obviously meaning that without reinforcements, without air patrol, without anything like that, this is going to be very difficult to deal with. Flak trucks shooting down these gunships is quite nice, of course. Gunships very mobile, so flak trucks having to struggle to keep up with them, but eventually managing to shoot them out of the sky. There we go. It's not without repercussion entirely here. The purple commander has taken heavy losses on the northern side. I got gamed. A little bit of a maroon force managed to break through the defenses and tear down the purple laboratories here, but you can see TA Ape has also moved into the backline and is going to start taking down these bases. Now, you know what I wouldn't mind seeing actually is a capture command. Going for a little bit of a capture command in order to, you lose your lab, so you may as well commandeer your enemies when you have to. Shuriken here doing a great job of paralyzing things so that those gunships can get efficient connections, and as soon as they do, you can see those maroon forces fall pretty quickly. Wow. What a turnaround right here. The economy completely flipping sides right here. You can see the blue team, or the red team had the advantage in total metal and energy production. The blue team now seizing the opportunity to reclaim that advantage. Shuriken continuing to paralyze whatever they can, and units skirmishing on the front. Those heavy tanks happy to take a fight against any sort of T1 they can find. The brown commander throwing in the towel at this point as more and more of this army goes back towards Threxy. Threxy controlling 90% of the red-controlled map here. Multiple commanders resurrected. The Tick's trying to blast down a bull. Pretty hilarious if you ask me. The bull ending up shooting itself in the face more than anything else. And TA Ape continues marching. Shoty immediately reaching for the APM switch. The rapid fire text to APM switch. Gunships floating very, very casually towards the base over here. More than happy to start blasting down more and more of these metal extractors right here. And as you can see, the pink commander, Threxy, with 24,000 metal in the bank and not really any efficient way to spend it, gonna start pouring metal rather into T3 units, but without the energy to really sustain the production. This is sort of a last-ditch effort. These Razorbacks are hoping to get insane value. Value unlike anything we've seen before, except for maybe in the Commander. The Green Menace transporting into the backline and tearing apart all these bases. I can't believe that Commander managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4 bases worth of D-guns before it was finally shut down. Shut down, by the way, by the explosions of the bases, not even by units that were sent to try and deal with it. What a hilarious gambit. It paid off quite well, though, so I'm certain Shoty is just giggling in his booth, happy about the way that this play has ended up working out. Fiends now blasting apart this base rapidly, as they are often wont to do. And the blue team eager to close out this game as quickly as possible here. Pitbull's firing away. We have the Banisher now deploying as well. The Advanced Geo now being bombed by heavy bombers. Boom goes the AGEO, taking out all the constructors and everything else. The Pitbull, the last thing that remains, and obviously not too much of a threat right here for these heavy tanks to go and deal with. Dangerous, sure, but not necessarily as dangerous as, say, a Pulsar or a whole bunch of units or a full-blown economy. Now, idling units into it, I'm not sure that's the right idea here either. Oh, maybe the idea is to open it up so it takes more damage. That could be the play right now. Might be what the Seafoam Green Commander is hoping for, but there we go. Pitbull finally dealt with, and it means these tanks can move forward. We do have Razorbacks on the field. Now, it's worth remembering, of course, that T3 units are miles more efficient than T2 and T1 units, so... heavy tanks are pretty good, and they have a lot of HP is really their main benefit right here. So this Razorback has to fight an uphill battle in order to get much value out. But I suppose if it's supported correctly, it could punch through the defenses right here. Game not over yet. There's still 3 commanders in charge of the, well, the entire red force at this point. It's times like these where you have to really start considering multi-pronged aggression. Knowing that there's only 3 commanders worth of APM, the best thing that you can do is just start multi-pronging all over the map. Start applying pressure in multiple different areas. Everybody just start poking the base. Start poking the map as many ways, as many places as you possibly can. Love that the Maroon Commander has just gone into full-blown light unit production right here. So the idea is just to flood the map with units, just to establish presence everywhere, not necessarily whether it's needed or not. Razorback cleaning this up quite nicely. You know what? Oh, these early Razorbacks are doing a great job of shutting this down. Yeah, I want to say these Razorbacks have managed to do enough to stall out this this push here. It really feels like they've made the difference. The power of T3, ladies and gentlemen, with a heroic play right there from Shoty, being offset in a massive way by the fact that T3 units are just so good. T3, where? Oh my goodness. What on earth is going on back here? Farmer Kit going for the economy of all time right now, going for more and more fusion reactors than ever I think I've even seen. That's not true. I've seen some pretty ridiculous setups, but definitely a lot of fusion reactors happening right here in the background. A little bit surprised by that. Feels like a bit of a massive investment where you could just produce a bunch of T2 units and go win the game. I suppose, though, if you wanted to take this all the way to a late game, it's the kind of economy you need. Multiple advanced fusion reactors all over the place. We have the commander in a plane, once more headed out. Now, because the economy has been refocused, it means Threxy does actually have a couple of fighters up in the air. It's a little bit dangerous, right? Because you only have one commander controlling the entire Air Force, and typically when that happens, you can end up with some APM stalls. Pretty brutal ones at that, too. There's those Banishers firing away right here. Long-range heat-seeking missile launchers tracking down those devastating jet or Razorback battle tanks and battle bots, ripping them asunder with their multiple launch rocket launcher systems that actually only fire one rocket, so it's a little bit unfortunately named that. Huh. I think once this economy comes online, I think once this commander actually puts some units in the game, this is going to suddenly flip around right here, but for the time being, this is just a ridiculous economy for the fact that this game is on a knife's edge right now. Yeah, you can see everybody looking back here and saying, what exactly are we doing right now, building this many advanced fusion reactors all at the same time? I suppose the nice thing is that the blue team will never have to worry about energy production, because, put quite simply, this is the massive energy production that the blue team needs for the rest of their days. 400 and some odd metal production per second right now coming out of the Cyan Commander. Actually can't even spend all the metal that he has. Just investing in mass constructors all over the place. Okay. What a strange way to play this when suddenly your team is losing on the front lines right here. Scorpion turrets up and running, so those are going to start firing away here at any of these units that get a little too close. Yep. Fiends, Razorbacks, you name it. They're more than happy to fire away those guided Sabo missile launchers. Plenty of damage and plenty of tracking, too, to track even some of the fastest units. Making quite light work of them, quite easy work of anything that otherwise usually would be struggled against. For instance, pawns and grunts and ticks, that sort of thing. The Scorpion actually does a great job of dealing with. Mass termites here is another interesting battle composition. I suppose in some sense it's nice because you can always retreat up the cliffside, but also you do run into the problem that they are quite slow and sort of, I don't want to say bad, but they're a task-made tool, right? They're made for the precise task. Oh my goodness, look at the APHIS counts we're going for here. This is just stupid. What are we planning with this economy? My brother in Christ, you are 4 Razorbacks away from complete oblivion, and you have got more and more APHISes queued up than the entire rest of your team could even hope to dream of. 2 or 3 defensive structures going to be plopped down here. We do have a couple of bulwarks set up. I am not so convinced that this is going to be sufficient defense. I suppose the Razorbacks are being split right now, though. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all, actually. This guy refuses to participate. I think that's my thoughts exactly. Yeah. If suddenly you're not really going to contribute much besides static defenses, it feels like you're going to leave your team high and dry. We have a big old battle going on in the midsection right here as well. I really can't help but wonder what the plan is. No anti. Was that true? Oh my goodness. That entire base is vulnerable to nuclear strike right here. Can't lie, I wouldn't mind seeing that happen on the front lines. That would be hilarious to see. Razorbacks grouping up and getting ready for a push once more. It's only a couple of bulwarks. Like, the thing about bulwarks is they take so long to fire and they don't really have that much range. 3 or 4 Razorback can easily overwhelm them. Especially considering these bulwarks are right outside of the foreseeable economy here. Titans now on the battlefield. This had better come online and with a swiftness, because otherwise this whole area is going to come down very, very quickly. For what it's worth, the build power is doing a wonderful job of scaling here. I mean, we're up to 600 metal per second and very eagerly moving towards the kind of economy that you can start to do absolutely ridiculous things with. Hopefully sooner rather than later is the only point to that. Titans accompanied by Razorbacks is a beautiful composition here. The Pink Commander, I can't believe it. Threxy, the Pink Commander, doing a phenomenal job of cleaning up this northern side of the map. These Razorbacks have done a phenomenal bit of work, tearing down all the static defenses, the eco structures, all the rest of it. Wouldn't mind seeing a Resbot or 2 sent out to try and reclaim all that. We've also got commanders being resurrected all over, which is cool to see. Razorbacks more than happy to blast out a bunch of this T1 crap as well. There is heavy tanks in here, which are soaking up a lot of the damage, though. It's always nice to see. And at the very least, sparing the Cyan Hero from... sparing the Cyan Hero from complete obliteration at the hands of those Razor Beasts. Those Titans are so dangerous, though. So dangerous. Their little tachyon laser beam, their shoulder-mounted tachyon laser beam, it may be portable and shoulder-mounted, but it's no less dangerous than a Pulsar's. Fires that huge stream of damage, and it's fairly consistent. This front line is melting rapidly, and the blue team just doesn't have the units in spot to deal with it. We need Razorbacks, we need Karganeths, we need anything at this point. Please tell me we're going to build something. I don't know what Farmer Kid has planned right here, but it's a ridiculous economy. 700 metal per second at this point. We're starting to approach the levels of economy at this point in the game here where we can actually build lol cannons recreationally. We can just build them wherever we want. We just need more build power up in the air. We do have loads of construction aircraft, so as you can see, a heavy investment in construction aircraft, but 121 is nowhere near enough to put up those extremely late game units anywhere near quick enough. Oh no. Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you were looking away from your screen, now is the time to zoom back in. This is maybe hilariously the poorest timing. The most eco-Chad gamer I've ever seen. The heavy bombers come on and connect with the base. Bombs away. Oh, are we anywhere close? We're getting there. Somebody pop the E-converters just in case. I guess we're just gonna go for it. Bombs away. Boom goes the base. What is there to say? What is there to say? Farmer Kit builds no units, builds eco all game, contributes nothing to the front lines, and then calls the resign vote. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I'm left a little bit speechless here today because 3 commanders managed to overwhelm the forces of 5. Or was it 6, 7, 8? Threxy rightfully exclaiming there as manages to pull this game back from the brink of devastation. Farmer Kit producing the most resources, and my goodness, this graph has just got to be insane. Yeah, it was a battle between Threxy, who inherited the entire map from his teammates, and Farmer Kit, who just spent the entire game ecoing. And you can see, those Titans on the battlefield, Titans and Razorbacks and Bombers and all the rest of it did a lot more work than anything else. Anything else on the charts. I think I need to go lay down. I think this game is really taking it out of me. So I sure hope you enjoyed. What a ridiculous conclusion to this otherwise amazing game of Beyond All Reason, and I sure hope to see you in the very next one. Peace out, everybody, and have a lovely rest of your day.